Every morning, like clockwork, a stray cat appeared on Carson's front porch, its cries piercing the quiet suburbia. Carson, initially delighted by the feline's company, began to welcome the cat with regular feedings, enjoying its presence as part of his daily routine. However, as time passed, he started to notice something peculiar about its behavior. The cat's persistent meowing and unusual restlessness hinted at a mystery far beyond a simple plea for food. Carson had been keeping an eye on the cat for days now, but he still hadn't figured out why it was coming to his porch every day. And to make it even worse, the cat seemed very upset and distressed about something. It just wouldn't stop meowing. Carson was determined to find out what was going on and to help the poor cat. It took him a while, but eventually Carson was finally able to figure out why this cat was crying on his porch for days on end. He grabbed his phone and called animal control, telling them that it was very urgent and they needed to come as quickly as possible. Karen was completely shocked by what he had found in his porch, and he hoped that the animal control team would arrive in time. There was nothing else that he could do now but wait. But what had Carson found? Why was the cat crying on his porch every day? And why did he call animal control? Carson loved animals, and he always went out of his way to help them if he saw they were in need. Because of his job, he didn't have any pets of his own. He didn't want them to be left at home all day. However, he was determined to have a house and garden full of animals as soon as it was possible. That was his dream. He secretly dreamed of quitting his job and starting an animal sanctuary where he would help all kinds of animals and provide them with a warm and loving home. The only problem was that he worked a job with long and irregular hours and he didn't have enough time. However, he was working on a plan that would help him turn this dream into reality. And sure, Carson could dream, but he knew very well that in order for his dream to become reality, he first needed to save some more money. So, he continued working hard and petting every single cat, dog, cow, you name it, that he came across. And at one point, he noticed that he had a regular visitor, a tabby cat that came to his front porch several days in a row. It was obviously a stray cat, and he couldn't tell if it was being fed or cared for by anyone else. At first, he thought that it was just hungry, and it kept returning to his porch because he kept feeding it. Soon, however, he would find out that the cat had a completely different reason for coming to him. But that would not happen just yet. Because of Carson's irregular work hours, he couldn't exactly track how often this cat came to his house. He asked around the neighborhood if anyone had seen this cat before, but not many others had spotted it yet. And those who had said that they had no idea where the cat had come from. It was all very strange. Sadly, as much as Carson had wanted to find out more about this cat, he simply couldn't. Some days, he worked an early shift, and others he worked late and well into the night. However, he did make sure that the bowl on his porch was filled with cat food before he left for each shift. He thought that this was the least he could do. Each time when Carson returned home, he found the bowl empty again, and he assumed that that one stray cat was still coming to his porch each day. However, he could not be sure of that. He kept thinking about it, and he became only more curious. So one day, he bought a pet camera and placed it on his porch. After setting the pet camera in place, Carson ensured it had a clear view of the food bowl on his porch. This new tool was his solution to the mystery of the stray cat's visits, promising to reveal the visitor's identity and its peculiar behavior. He adjusted the angle slightly, satisfied that the setup captured the entire porch. Carson proceeded to download the camera's accompanying app on his phone, meticulously going through the setup process. He tested the live feed, ensuring that the image was crisp and the motion detector was properly configured. Every detail had to be perfect for his plan to work. The technology in his hands felt like a bridge to understanding his elusive guest. With the camera now in place, Carson felt a surge of hopefulness. He planned to monitor the porch from his workplace, eager to uncover the identity of the creature that had turned his front step into a daily stop. The thought of finally seeing the mysterious visitor brought a mix of excitement and impatience. The next morning, Carson filled the bowl with food, its contents a silent invitation to the unseen guest. He gave the camera setup a final check before leaving for work. This day marked the beginning of his quest for answers. The camera, now his eyes at home, stood ready to capture the day's events. As the day unfolded, Carson found himself frequently distracted, his thoughts constantly returning to the camera at home. He imagined various scenarios: the stray cat arriving, perhaps other wildlife venturing onto his porch, or even nothing at all. The suspense was palpable, a blend of anticipation and unease about the day's potential revelations. Carson knew whatever the camera captured, it would mark the beginning of a deeper understanding of his mysterious visitor. During his lunch break, Carson eagerly checked the app, only to find the bowl untouched and no sign of the cat. His heart sank a little. The excitement he had felt that morning now replaced with a hint of worry. Why hadn't the cat shown up? Was it okay? Carson hoped for any sign of the stray, but was met with stillness. He scrubbed through the morning's footage, searching for any movement or visit, but the porch remained empty. His brow furrowed in confusion and slight frustration. The screen displayed hours of uneventful video, the food bowl untouched, mocking the effort and care he had put into this venture. The anticipation of discovering something new had faded into the background of an ordinary day. Carson wondered if the cat had found another source of food or shelter, feeling a tinge of disappointment. The thought that maybe the cat didn't need him after all crossed his mind, leaving a dull ache. He had hoped to make a difference, however small, in the life of this stray. The possibility of being just a temporary stop along its journey unsettled him. The empty porch raised more questions than answers about the stray's whereabouts during the day. Carson's mind raced with possibilities. Had something happened to the cat? Was it simply not hungry? Each scenario seemed less likely than the last. The mystery of the cat's absence consumed his thoughts more than he cared to admit, even to himself. Resolved to keep trying, Carson hoped for a visit that was yet to be captured by his new setup. Despite the disappointment, his resolve didn't waver. He understood the nature of caring for animals, especially strays. It was unpredictable and often thankless. But the possibility of making even a small difference kept him hopeful. Tomorrow was another day, and with it came another chance. Carson immersed himself in work, the early morning curiosity about the cat pushed aside by the day's responsibilities. Meetings blurred into emails, and the quiet question of the stray's well-being was shelved behind deadlines. Each tick of the clock took him further from the mystery on his porch, his mind occupied by the relentless pace of his job. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Carson's workspace finally quieted down. The intensity of his tasks left little room for idle thoughts, including those of his four-legged visitor. With the last email sent and the computer shut down, the reality of his long day settled in, heavy and demanding as ever. Engrossed in his professional world, Carson's initial intrigue about the cat's visit dissipated, buried under a pile of tasks that demanded his full attention. The quest to uncover the mystery of the stray became a distant thought, overshadowed by the pressing needs of his day-to-day responsibilities. The fleeting concern for the mysterious visitor was lost amid the flurry of deadlines and meetings, becoming just another forgotten puzzle in his busy life. As the office lights dimmed, signaling the end of another day, Carson gathered his belongings, his thoughts gradually shifting from the rigors of work to the enigma awaiting him at home. The unsolved puzzle of the porch visitor, though pushed to the back of his mind throughout the day, resurfaced, stirring a blend of curiosity and anticipation as he contemplated the silent stories that awaited his discovery. Stepping onto his porch, Carson was greeted by the sight of the empty food bowl, a stark testament to the cat's unseen visit. The absence of any clues left a silent question hanging in the air, a gentle nudge reminding him of the day's unresolved mystery. He was becoming only more curious about that cat and its story. Carson hurried to review the footage, discovering the cat had visited, eating the food left out for it. The sight of the familiar tabby cat on his phone's screen brought a mix of relief and curiosity. As the cat nibbled cautiously at the food, Carson leaned closer, sensing there was more to the story than just a stray looking for its next meal. He noticed the cat's strange behavior on camera, its distress evident even through the silent footage. It didn't just eat. It paused, looked around anxiously, and meowed towards the camera. Even without sound, Carson felt the urgency in its actions, a silent plea transmitted through the digital divide, reaching out to him from the confines of his porch. The cat's loud meowing and restless movements on the video intrigued Carson, hinting at an underlying issue. It seemed to be communicating, trying to make Carson understand something important. The cat's demeanor was far from the casual visit of a hungry animal. It was as if it had a mission, a desperate need to convey a message. Watching the cat's behavior, Carson's concern deepened, realizing this was more than a case of hunger. There was a palpable sense of distress in the cat's actions, a persistent attempt to communicate something urgent. Carson couldn't help but feel that the cat chose his porch not by chance, but with a purpose, seeking help only he could provide. The footage left Carson with more questions than answers, the cat's actions suggesting a hidden plight. Each movement and meow seemed to be a piece of a puzzle, a clue to an unseen struggle. Carson knew he could not ignore this silent call for help. He must delve deeper, understanding that the key to the mystery lay in the silent cries of a distressed tabby cat. The cat's loud meowing and agitated behavior caught on camera indicated it was trying to communicate something urgent. Carson watched, puzzled and concerned, as the cat paced back and forth, its calls piercing the silent footage. This was no ordinary plea for food. It was a desperate cry for help, one that Carson couldn't ignore. Carson studied the footage closely, noting the cat's unusual focus and repeated distress calls. Its behavior was erratic, unlike anything he had seen before. The cat seemed to be searching for something, or perhaps signaling towards an unseen issue. Carson's curiosity turned to worry. It was clear the cat needed more than just food. It became clear the cat was not just asking for food, but was distressed about something else. The intensity of its meows and persistent pacing suggested an urgent plea. Carson felt a sense of responsibility washing over him. Whatever the reason behind the cat's distress, he knew he had to help. Feeling a strong urge to help, Carson resolved to understand and address the root cause of the cat's distress. The connection he felt with the animal deepened, driven by a shared sense of trust and a mutual need for understanding. This was more than just a stray cat. It was a creature in need, reaching out for assistance. Determined to uncover the mystery, Carson planned to directly engage with the cat if he saw it again. His mind raced with possibilities, but one thing was clear. He needed to be there when it visited again, to offer comfort and find a solution. The anticipation of their impending interaction filled him with a purposeful resolve. The next day, Carson had a day off from work. He enjoyed his morning coffee on the porch, appreciating the calm before the day unfolded. The air was fresh, and the quiet suburbia seemed to hold its breath in the early light. It was these moments of solitude that Carson cherished most, a brief respite from the chaos of his daily life. The stray cat appeared, cautiously making its way towards Carson, breaking the morning's peace. Its silent steps were hesitant, yet purposeful, as if it knew exactly where it was heading. Carson watched, intrigued by the sudden appearance of his furry visitor, its presence a gentle disruption to his morning routine. Despite its hesitation, the cat approached Carson, allowing him to gently pet it, establishing a bond. The trust was not given lightly. It was earned through quiet patience and the gentle touch of a hand extended in friendship. In that moment, a silent agreement was formed between man and animal, a connection built on mutual respect. Carson sensed the cat's trust growing, its demeanor softening as it sought his attention and care. There was a quiet understanding between them, a recognition of shared solitude. The cat, with its cautious approach and gentle purring, seemed to be seeking more than just physical warmth. It was looking for companionship. The cat's continued meowing, and sad eyes conveyed a message Carson was now determined to understand. Beyond its immediate needs for food and affection, there was a deeper plea for help, a call that Carson felt compelled to answer. The urgency in the cat's behaviour was clear, its message unspoken yet unmistakable in the silence of their shared gaze. The persistent meow Carson noticed that the cat's sad meowing didn't cease, even after feeding. It was a sound filled with worry, leading him to suspect there was a deeper issue at play. The meows seemed to echo a sense of urgency and distress that went beyond hunger, hinting at an unseen problem that Carson felt compelled to uncover. Motivated by the cat's distress, Carson decided to investigate its behaviour more closely, noticing its fixation on a specific spot on his porch. This unwavering attention made him curious about what could possibly be so captivating. As he watched, it became clear that the cat was not just another stray looking for food, it was a messenger of a hidden tale. The cat incessantly sniffed around a corner of the porch, its attention undivided. Carson wondered what could possibly be so captivating. The intensity of the cat's focus suggested it wasn't merely a passing interest, but a desperate search for something. Carson's curiosity grew, pondering what secrets lay hidden in that unassuming corner of his home. The cat's behaviour was unusual and persistent, meowing sadly while focused on one area. Carson sensed that the cat was trying to communicate something important. The repeated actions and focused intent suggested a message or a need that went beyond simple companionship or hunger. It was a puzzle, with the cat as both the clue and the guide. Carson observed the cat's desperate sniffing and realised it's not just hunger driving its actions, it was searching for something vital. The urgency in its movements and the focused sniffing at the same spot hinted at a pressing need. Carson felt a growing resolve to help unravel the mystery, understanding that the cat's persistent behaviour was a plea for assistance. Carson approached the corner where the cat was focused, finding nothing immediately out of the ordinary. Yet, he remained intrigued by the cat's persistent interest in the area. There was something compelling about the cat's behaviour, something that Carson couldn't quite put his finger on, but he knew he couldn't ignore it. The cat's dedication to this particular spot on the porch hinted at a mystery just waiting to be uncovered. Despite seeing nothing unusual at the spot, Carson sensed the cat's distress was linked to something specific in the area. This sparked his curiosity about a hidden mystery. The cat's focused sniffing and occasional pawing at the ground made Carson wonder what was so important about this seemingly mundane corner of his porch. The cat's behaviour led Carson to wonder if it had detected something he couldn't see, like a mouse or another small animal hidden on his porch. The cat sniffed intently at the area, its tail twitching in agitation. Carson watched, fascinated, as the cat's actions suggested a hidden presence that was yet to be revealed. Carson's investigation led him to discover a loose wooden panel on his porch, hinting at a potential hidden space beneath. As he examined it, the realization dawned on him that this might be the key to the cat's mysterious behaviour. The discovery of the loose panel added a tangible clue to the puzzle he was slowly piecing together. The cat's reaction intensified upon Carson's discovery of the loose panel, scratching and meowing loudly, signalling that something important was hidden underneath. The urgency in the cat's voice and the frantic scratching made it clear to Carson that he had stumbled upon something significant. This was more than mere curiosity. It was a cry for help that he couldn't ignore. Upon touching the panel, Carson noticed the cat's desperation grow, confirming his suspicion that the mystery involved this specific spot on his porch. The cat's anxious gaze followed his every move, its meows growing more frantic. Carson's heart raced as he realised the gravity of what he might find beneath the loose board. Carson pried open the loose panel with the cat's anxious eyes on him, bracing himself for what lay beneath. As the board gave way, a hidden space revealed itself. Carson's breath caught in his throat as he peered inside, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Under the panel, Carson discovered a litter of tiny, weak kittens. The stray cat's behaviour now made perfect sense. She was a mother trying to reach her trapped offspring. Their frail meows filled the air, tugging at Carson's heartstrings. He understood then the depth of the cat's desperation. Realizing the urgency of the situation, Carson carefully extracted the kittens from their hidden spot. Their frail meows were a testament to their desperate condition. As he gently lifted each kitten, Carson felt a surge of determination. He knew he had to act fast to save these fragile lives. Recognizing the kittens needed more help than he could provide alone, Carson called animal control. His voice was steady as he explained the situation, ensuring the kittens would receive the care they needed to survive. As he hung up, Carson looked down at the tiny faces peering back at him, feeling a mix of relief and hope. After animal control's intervention, the kittens rapidly regained their strength. Carson, profoundly moved by their resilience, dedicated himself to creating a haven for them in his garden. His days were spent ensuring this new sanctuary provided everything the feline family needed to flourish. This act of kindness marked the first step towards a dream he had long harbored. Carson's hands, once accustomed to the rigidity of daily work, now worked with a gentler purpose. He built a cozy, secure home for the cat family in his garden, making sure every corner was safe and warm. It was a labor of love, transforming a portion of his yard into a perfect retreat for the cats, a place where they could thrive and be together. Under Carson's watchful care, the stray cat and her kittens grew healthier and stronger with each passing day. Their bond with Carson deepened, their eyes shining with trust and affection whenever he appeared. The garden became a place of joy and laughter, filled with the playful antics of the kittens and the contented purrs of their mother. Watching the cat family play in their new home, Carson felt a profound sense of accomplishment. This small corner of the world, transformed by his hands, was the beginning of the sanctuary he had dreamed of. It was a modest start, but to Carson, it represented the seeds of a future where his home would be a haven for animals in need. The journey with the stray cat and her kittens inspired Carson to expand his vision. What began as a single act of kindness towards one animal family grew into a mission. Carson's once quiet home transformed, gradually becoming a sanctuary for strays and animals in need. His dream had come full circle, his life now intertwined with the creatures he had vowed to protect.